Hey, here are 5 stupid things about the Amish. Those goddamn buggies. About 10 years ago or so, I dated a girl who lived in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. So while I might not have as much first-hand experience with the Amish as some, I have putted impatiently behind my share of horse-drawn buggies with fluorescent orange hazard signs fixed to the back. Thank you very much. And while I do think that the Amish buggies out on public roads are stupid and obnoxious, there's a positive side to them too. The fact that we allow the Amish to take their 19th century carriages out on the same road as our 21st century automobiles, and that those of us in the automobiles are willing to indulge them, though not without a little bitching here and there, obviously, shows what a tolerant species we are capable of being. So thank you, Amish buggy drivers. Putting up with horses clip-clopping along as they pull your backward asses up the road a piece has made us all better people. Now, some of you might be saying, why is this idiot apologizing to the Amish? Doesn't he realize none of them will ever see this video? Well, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Don't forget about their extremely selective rejection of modern technology. They don't drive cars, they don't have electricity in their homes, right. But most Amish folk don't have a problem with hiring a car or even flying in an airplane if they have to travel for some reason. And some Amish communities have also created exceptions to that no electricity rule to allow people to, say, operate necessary medical equipment or use a computer to help run a business. And speaking of those businesses, the Amish might not want to take part in the sinful society created by we dwellers in modernity, but they're more than happy to offer us a buggy ride or some baked goods or some handmade furniture, all for a price, of course. I'm not saying that it keeps me up at night, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to do it. I'm just saying it's stupid. Rumspringa. Most Amish communities allow their young members a period of indulgence during their adolescence, which in Deutsch or Pennsylvania German is known as Rumspringa, or jumping around or running around. At age 16, Amish teenagers are considered mature enough to be baptized into the church. But between the attainment of that maturity and baptism, the young Amish men and women are allowed, or in some cases even encouraged, to go out and sample life in the world beyond the community, the world from which they have mostly been sheltered their entire life. And go figure, most of them don't do so well and decide to come back home. And really, who can blame them? They're going from a world of manual labor and horse-drawn buggies and homemade cider to a world of cars and Jägermeister and drugs, and don't forget sex, because they're not just raising barns, you know what I'm saying? That sounds like Canadian more than Amish, I don't know. I'm not a very good mimic. Anyway, most of them end up coming home and joining church, and who can blame them, because they've been completely unprepared for the modern world. So they go out, they get it out of their system, they party for a while, then they come home, they get churched, they get married, and it's all good from there on out, provided that they don't have a Rumspringa relapse after they've been baptized. Which brings me to the next stupid thing about the Amish. They can get mean. If you break the rules after being baptized into the church, you can be excommunicated and shunned, cut off completely from all of your friends and family in the community. And it can get even worse. Just last week, an Amish bishop from Ohio was convicted of hate crimes in a federal court for ordering 15 of his followers to attack and forcibly cut the hair and beards of some of their fellow members of their Amish community who had criticized this bishop, whose last name is Mullet, by the way, of being too strict. You know, I think if I were in the Mullet gang, I would just jump bail and relocate to another part of the world that is more hospitable to my lifestyle. Someplace like Kandahar. Those fucking Beverly Lewis novels. I know it's a petty note to end on, but every time I see one of those Amish romance novels, usually in their own spinner rack next to the magazines in the grocery store, I can't help but roll my eyes. Beverly Lewis has made a career out of writing this wholesome hokum. You might recognize her as the author of such titles as The Shunning, The Betrayal, The Englisher, and of course, who could forget The Longing. This trash is written to appeal to Christian wives, to give them something to chat about over lunch after church other than their pack of precocious homeschooled kids or the word of knowledge they claimed while watching the 700 Club this past week. But it has inspired me nonetheless. I figured, fuck it. If Beverly Lewis can write Amish romances, then I can goddamn well write atheist romances. And I've even come up with a few concepts. For instance, the method, the argument, Occam's razor, the man in the seersucker suit, and of course, Big Bang. Not a bad start. I do have a lot of work to do, however, so the hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.